What's good, everybody? I thought I was going to bed, and I know I look a little tired, but this is another message that I got to get off my chest. And I think that everybody needs to hear this, especially if you still have grandparents that are still on this earth. Um, love your grandparents. Cherish every moment that you have with your grandparents. I have on my phone that I use to record videos on, if I'm not using my camera, I got my grandparents as my screensaver. My granddad passed away in the 80s. My grandmother passed away in 93. But it was like yesterday. Let me tell y'all something about grandparents. A lot of y'all already know, but to those that do not know, when you got grandparents, when you got hurt as a kid, you ran to your grandparents or your grandmother, you didn't have the pain. Grandma had the cure to everything. If she didn't have the cure for it, when she put her hands on your shoulder and told you that it's going to be okay, y'all, it was okay. When you wanted your way and you couldn't have your way with your parents, your grandparents made it to where you can have your way. When all the little kids on the block had this and they had that, but you didn't have that, your grandparents made sure that you had that. I say this, y'all, because time waits for no man. Time waits for no man. Life is short. I know they gave life a number. You won all the way up to 100. And if maybe 102 you live to see, those numbers go fast, y'all. I know it seemed like that's a long way, y'all. It goes fast. Use your time wisely while you're here. I meant that. I really meant that. But if you got grandparents here, cherish those moments, because I wish my grandparents were here. My grandfather, he was that dude. He bought me and my brother big wheels when we was young kids. And it's not the little things that matters, okay? But those are the things he did. He worked in a steel mill. He retired out of the steel mill. But my grandmother was special. My grandfather was special too, but I got to know my grandmother more as time went on. My grandfather died when I was a pup, but my grandmother passed when I was damn near a man, and it tore me up. I used to do a lot of things for my grandmother. I would go out my way for my grandmother, but in my eyes, it wasn't going out of my way. I just loved to be around my grandmother, doing things for her, sucking up that knowledge that she was giving to me. She told me things. She shared things with me that a lot of people don't even know. They don't know. I mean, everybody in my family got their own personal relationship with their mother or their grandmother, but when I was around my grandmother, she told me things, she shared things with me, and just to sit and reminisce about them, it really tears me up, y'all. It tears me up. That song they got, Superwoman, that was my grandmother. You know, the sad part about it, but it was a beautiful thing to me, was my grandmother was my mother as well as my grandmother, because I didn't have a mother. My mother walked out on me when I was a baby. My mother passed away a few years back. Rest her soul in peace. Nothing against my mother. For whatever reason, she couldn't do it, but she walked out on me when I was a baby. Walked out on me and my brother. My father stepped up to the plate and handled that. Men can do it too. Yes, they can. Men can step up to the plate and take you to all the way to 18. My dad did that. But your grandmother, your grandparents, cherish them if y'all got them living. I'm going to show you a picture of my grandmother. This is my grandfather back in the 80s. Keep cutting off. Sorry about that. That's him in the 80s. Let me show you my grandmother. I got to sign in. And she's the whole picture. My grandmother had Cherokee Indian in her. She was beautiful. My grandmother was beautiful. I'm leaving this up there for a second because this is like a moment of silence for me. I was sitting in a chair, right? And if I got any family members out there watching this, I don't mean to hurt y'all feelings because all my aunts and uncles, this is their mother. And any young cousins, this is my grandmother as well as y'all's. I just want y'all to know I miss grandma too. But to anybody else out there that does have a grandmother still living, like I said, cherish those moments. Do everything that you can for her or him because you never know when they're going to take their last breath. Grandma getting on my nerves. Granddad getting on my nerves. I ain't got time. I got to go hang on. I got to listen. You got plenty time for that. But they here on borrowed time just like we are. Cherish those moments you got with them, y'all. Because when they gone, you're going to wish they was here. It's 2021. My grandma left here in 93. My granddad in the 80s. I miss him. Miss him, y'all. And you want to know what I miss about them the most is when there was a problem. When they was around, everything was okay. They're not here, so now we got to deal with this madness. Some of y'all say, well, if they was here, was it good? Is it going to matter? Listen, y'all. It's just that feeling you get when they're around. They're superheroes to y'all. Well, my superheroes is gone. My dad was a superhero, but my grandparents was everything. My grandmother was everything. Somebody went to a psychic and they got a reading, and the psychic told them that somebody is watching over him. 2 women is watching over him. I definitely know that one of those women was my grandmother. One of them was my grandmother. The other one could have been my daughter that passed. My mother didn't pass when this psychic did the reading. My mother was still living, dealing with her issues, but my grandmother was definitely one of them, and I'm thinking the other one was my daughter. 2 women watching over me. So all y'all, do what you gotta do. Love your grandparents. Love your grandparents. They could be here today, gone tomorrow. Love y'all.